First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Up Next. You found us here at postwrestling.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast
And we are
Addict.
live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, everyone. How are we doing?
Yes, hello, everybody. It's Tuesday, January 14th. We are going to talk about some NXT, and you know why. It's because we are your NXT friends. And we'll always be your NXT friends. It's 2025. Don't know how many times I'm going to keep putting 2024 on work docs or tweets or all sorts of stuff. I keep doing it.
Sorry, I just lost you for a bit. I think the people in control of the Netflix audio just hacked into your feed right there. I just had you go a bit silent on me. But I'm writing 2024 all the time still. I'm the same. But I'll get there eventually. Maybe in February. Maybe next month.
Yes. Hello, everybody. It is Up Next. We're going to talk about NXT, and we're happy that you're here with us. We go live every Tuesday, post wrestling on the YouTube channel. So give us a follow there. But we also are known as Poisonrana. So search Poisonrana in your YouTube or podcast app or social media and give us a follow there for all the other shows that we do, because we love to talk wrestling. So where are my frogs at? Hello, people. If you're in the chat, drop a frog, say what's up. And because we're on post wrestling, super chats are very welcome here tonight as we talk about some NXT, as we look forward to the road to Vengeance Day, as New Year's Evil has come and gone. So yes, hello everybody out there, and appreciate everyone out there. It's a big week, of course. Still, it feels like the Netflix thing is kind of continuing on. The train is still going, and it's cool to see WWE picking up steam.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we had a great chat on Sunday's Poisonrana. Kind of now the dust had settled, and we've seen all three of the first Netflix international shows, NXT, SmackDown, as well as Raw. We kind of gave our thoughts in quite full detail on Sunday about our thoughts on the first week. And I will say, in my opinion, week 2 has been a lot stronger so far than week 1.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like I know we were hard on it. And yes, you can find us talking about all of WWE on Netflix this week, plus AEW and everything on our Sunday show. We will be going live this Sunday as well at our normal time, 2 p.m. So hear us talk some more about all of this. But it's crazy because it's like they did such a big week, big numbers and everything. And it just feels like people are talking about it. And it's just a big deal. Like everyone's like, oh wow, wrestling is popular, and seeing it on Netflix every week, it's going to be taking over that spot. It's complete. I don't know about you. Have you changed your Netflix emoji yet? Because mine was Steve Herrington from Stranger Things for a long time, but now it is Rey Mysterio. So how crazy is that?
I have not. No, I don't even know what mine is currently. I think it's just the plain like blank smiley face or something. No, it's
taken over. It's so cool to see, like seeing WWE in the forefront of like I'm an avid Netflix user. So seeing Netflix as I'm watching all my crime docs or whatever, it's like, oh wow, like cool seeing WWE being right in the front. Like the logo of when you click Netflix, the home screen is them, all the wrestlers tearing through it. Like that's a pretty genius play, I think. And I think it's working for them. And you're going to see a lot more people. That's why these shows are getting so damn expensive, because everyone's going to be like, oh, I want to go to that. So it's working. Good for them. But this week, the content you're saying of Monday Night Raw so far, so maybe is what you're referring to, like the actual substance of what we're used to.
Yeah. I thought yesterday's show felt way more like sort of the Raws that I've been enjoying in like the past year. We had a lot more match time. We had a lot more story development. And but I think mainly the whole Penta debut, which I don't think could have really gone any better. I thought he looked like an absolute star. The match with Gable was great. This crowd were like so into him. Presentation was good, and I thought the promo afterwards, especially when he was speaking in Spanish, was was great, and right away feels like a big deal in WWE.
Yo, yeah, absolutely. It was so cool to see not only Penta make a debut in WWE. It's like watching different worlds. It's like a different universe. Like watching this guy for like almost 10 years in so many other promotions, and then now walking out in WWE. It's like Bizarro world, but it's awesome. And then on top of that, had an awesome match with Chad Gable, who went out there and made Penta look really good. And Penta made him look good. Like, it was great. And then I think I even liked the promo afterward, just the like passion, because whenever Penta talked on AEW, he let Alex Abrahantes do the talking, and it sucked. So no shade to Alex there, but like this version of Penta was like,
no, all the shade to Alex. Like, it was just completely the wrong presentation of this guy. Like, the tag act was great, but I think we've always seen Money in both of them as singles guys, and Penta especially is so unique and was just wasted in this tag team and Death Triangle. Alex Abrahantes as the weird hype man. It just made him seem so uncool, and this guy is as far from uncool as possible. And I think he came across he got a bit of that old Penta back, I felt yesterday.
Oh, right away. You know how much I love Penta, because I can see behind you the Joker Penta mask on our set there. We love Penta in the BDE, and like, it's just crazy seeing this guy show up in WWE. And like, I wouldn't say he was wasted, but you're right in certain ways. Because I think back to, they were a staple of AEW, and we spent years talking about them, loving them, like seeing some awesome matches throughout, but they weren't used to their full form or full capacity. So seeing Penta as a singles role, cutting a promo with just heat and passion, seeing his family in the front row, like crying, seeing the Penta walk. Shout out the Grinch. That's how we walk around the house sometimes when we're hanging out, because the Penta walk, and like seeing him. Okay, we didn't get the package pile driver, but we got the arm breaker that right away they're like pushing, giving it the name like the Sacrifice, which is cool. Just don't do it on Cody, because then he'll no sell it. And then, because that was how the move died the first time.
That was the end of the singles career.
That was it.
Like,
Cody, you ruined him.
Penta v Cody. This sounds great, and then it was done.
Yeah, it's just great. Loved Michael Cole sort of talking about throwing shade, and Michael Cole being like, "Hey, welcome to the big leagues." Essentially, I love this guy so much. He's legit one of my favorite wrestlers, and seeing him in WWE is a trip for sure. So I'm all in. Like, I want to see some great matchups here. Like, there's so many endless possibilities that we could do. Obviously, a big Rey Mysterio show off would be huge if they did that in Mexico or something. Like, just do it while you can. Is there any that come to mind, that like big program that you should do? Because Rey Fénix is definitely going to join him eventually, but like right now, let's enjoy this like Penta run.
Yeah, there's tag matches, obviously, I'd like to see, but in general, I just rather see them both as singles guys. I think, get those dream tag matches out the way, but I think Penta can have a nice run as a singles guy first. I don't know, people coming to mind.
Ilya Dragunov, versus Penta.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Io Sky, just do it one time, please. Just the one rematch there. But no, like Ilya versus Penta. Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn, AJ Styles when he's back, like that's
Sami Zayn would be cool. That would be very good.
Hell yeah.
There's so just seeing in a new setting, there's so many people that I think would be interesting matches for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Sino in the chat saying Chelsea Green. Yes, another rematch from Lucha Underground. We've done some Lucha Underground reviews, I think, in our Patreon, deep in the catalogs there. So we definitely go back. I man, like, if you're not familiar, I mean, at this point, you're listening to us, you're definitely familiar. Like the Lucha Bros and Penta and everything. Like, this is super cool seeing him. It's always cool when you see like your some of your favorites go to WWE, and obviously some people are like, oh, this is where you go just to cool down in your career. I'm like, no, like this is a whole fresh coat of paint, and I thought he looked really good in that.
And just getting on them, have merchandise this guy more than AEW did in 5 years.
Ever?
Like,
how? I'm not trying to rag on them, but like, how long was he under the contract working for AEW? How many masks did they sell? Zero.
Yeah.
I had to get this mask from third party. Shout out Pure Fandom. Shout out Mexico. Like, how crazy is that? How bizarre is that? Before he even debuted, they had the mask, they had the shirts. Dare I say, he did the thing with the new gloves. They're going to be selling those. I guarantee they make bank in the first few months with the mask alone. Like, that was just money on the table because AEW did not sell Penta nor Ray. The only mask they sell now is like the hologram mask. So
Yeah.
like, man, that is a big missed opportunity. So the mask looks sick too. It's like the like replaceable mouthpiece or whatever. It looks awesome.
Yeah, the shirts are pretty good as well. Like,
Yeah.
I do think WWE have quietly been improving their t-shirt game recently. Like, I think, you know, pretty much all the Jey Uso shirts he sells are pretty good. This Penta one looks good. Some of LA Knight stuff looks pretty good. Like, they're getting a little better again because it was awful for a while. Time to work on the music as well. But yeah.
Ooh, yeah. His music was not the most, but
it was
maybe
fine.
I miss the what was it, the AEW, the intro that we always thought it sounded like Danza Kuduro, but
yeah,
we think everything sounds like that. So
I say Tupego.
Yeah, I see Tupego, not Danza
Yeah.
Kuduro. Yeah. Also a banger, but yeah. Shout out Penta. John Cino in the chat. We love you, Cino Evil. We'll be chatting with him tomorrow, but he says we should do a BME Penta before WWE. Maybe like a non-Lucha Bros one. Where like they're not tag team,
just singles matches. Yeah, I mean, like the match they had on Dynamite with each other.
Oh
right?
yeah,
they're ripping at the masks. That was pretty good.
Anytime luchadors rip at each other's masks, it adds a star for me on the rating value of it. But yeah, I also loved Kenny and Penta at the original All In. Like I could watch those guys wrestle all the time. But yeah, good idea, Cino. Maybe we'll do it, and maybe you'll have to join us for that one. But Cino Evil in the chat, you should listen to Cino Evil with Shot in the Dark every week on Poison Rana. It's 15 minutes or less, a podcast where Cino fills you in on all the other wrestling that you may or may not watch with big results and facts of everything that goes on, including the Classmaster winning the Battle Royal for the new WOW world title on WOW Women of Wrestling. Oh boy, the Samantha Smart and the Classmaster, they fooled a lot of people. I was swerved. So big ups on WOW. Whether or not the people on Cage Match had the wrong result of the taping, because everybody thought it was going a different direction and it didn't. So big swerve for everyone out there. I saw them clowning some people, other podcasters about how people were just putting out the report without actually watching the show.
Right.
So here at Poison Rana, you know, we watching WOW, so we knew what actually happened. So shout out Samantha Smart and the Classmaster, sending love there. But yes, Cino Evil will also be joining us for a different show this week, Davey, tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be recording tomorrow. We're doing 2 shows this week on the Patreon. First, we have the May 8th, 2014 edition of NXT. We're in the middle of a NXT Women's Championship tournament as Paige has vacated her title. This episode features the debut of Alexa Bliss, but also the debut of another luchador, Kalisto, in NXT. I actually remembered this episode quite clearly, so we'll be talking about that this week, as well as you mentioned, The Champ is Here, episode 5, where we're going to be joined by our boys, John Cino and B Detroit from What Up Doe, to talk all about the 5th reign as champion for John Cena. This is the build to WrestleMania 25 with the highly praised,
iconic.
We say the word cinema wasn't in the vernacular of wrestling back in 2009, but this is pure cinema. The love triangle that is Edge, Big Show, Vicky Guerrero, and somehow it leads to John winning the title. So we'll be talking all about that. John chasing for the title, winning the title at Mania, and then dropping it later that month at Backlash to Edge. So, I've been loving doing these shows. We took a little break in December because it's just crazy with, the holidays, Christmas, New Year. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun to talk about between the 4 of us.
Oh, yeah. This show has been awesome. For anyone following, so we have a lot of podcasts, and $5 a month gets you not only the Was Next, but also all the other shows. And this is a great series following each month. Each show going through John Cena's title wins, and we've had different guests on in the past. And if you haven't checked it out yet, there is the first one's up for free, and I put like different chunks of the other ones up and stuff. But number 5 coming out tomorrow on the Patreon. We'll be recording tomorrow with B and Cena.
This is wrestle crap. This next show is pure wrestle crap. Like it's been tough to watch, but also highly enjoyable.
Yeah, it's like I you know what I learned today watching some of this stuff? What's worse than constantly watching Edge and Vicky Guerrero make out? Vicky Guerrero and Big Show constantly making out. Yeah.
Terrible.
Great stuff. We're going to have the great chat with the boys on The Champ Is Here, episode 5. The one good thing to come out of it is the Edge wrong promo. That's the good thing I watched today. Like, oh, that was fire. So other than that, not a good run for the 5th title reign for John Cena. But maybe we'll be talking about his 17th later this year. Maybe.
And you can hear more of John Cena and B Detroit from the latest episode of What Up, Doe. They released last week on the Poisonrana free feed. Remember, please subscribe to that feed as well. And we also put out last week Eagles Don't Hunt Flies, where Martin Bushby, Dickie Bird, and Brandon from New Jersey talk all about Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley in their Lights Out match. One of the very first feuds to take place on AEW between these two, and a great match. So I really suggest you will go and listen to that, because those guys put on such a great show.
Yeah, so we have lots and lots of free shows, lots of shows on the Patreon. We're there to keep you entertained, talking about wrestling, talking about all sorts of things. So give us a follow if you haven't already, and give us a shot. It's only $5, and it gives you a month's access. It's like pennies per different shows that we do, different movie reviews, and so much more stuff. We're also going to be reviewing a Retro Rumble this month. We're going to be looking at some Retro NXT, like you said, on the road to the original takeover. And then a Up Yours with Chris Elliott, who selected some episodes of Black Mirror. So lots and lots of shows on our Patreon. It's only $5. It's how we keep the lights on here. So appreciate all you people out there. And hey, while we're plugging, I'll plug away. If you want to feel a little froggy style, you can go to chop-tees.com/Poisonrana to rep the toques. I'm Canadian, I call it that. The snapbacks, the hoodies, the shirts, all the stuff is there. There's no shipping costs to anywhere, pretty much anywhere that you order from. So what you see is what you get. And if you do order something, appreciate it. And please send in some photos. We love to see it.
Yeah, I actually went on WWE Shop today. We're hosting a Rumble party very soon.
That's right.
First at Gabby's, and was looking at potentially getting some prizes for it, and was looking through the sales section. And it's so frustrating when I'm like clicking away. I'm like, that looks good. That's a reasonable price. You go through it all, and then right at the end, you've got customs, fees, taxes, postage, and it's slapping on like another $80 on your order, and it's very quickly, okay, empty basket and leave. You don't have that with Chop Tees. What you see is what you get. So everything's factored in the price, so you don't have to put things out of your basket once you get a checkout. You put that in and you press purchase. So one of the great features, and Dickie is very good with customer service. We're making sure that what you've bought is right for you.
Yes, absolutely. So that's how you can support us. chop-tees.com/Poisonrana. Rock the frog hat, rock whatever. I love to see it. Appreciate. And yeah. So how you doing?
I'm pretty good. Yeah. I've got a quick funny story to say, but it was my staff party yesterday. A lot of bars and restaurants do their Christmas parties in January because it's slower, and obviously we're normally quite busy over Christmas time.
Right.
And they had like a kind of white elephant game. So it was a raffle, and if your number got pulled, you could pick a present or you could steal someone else's present.
Right.
And there was some good stuff. There was like some nice, there was like a sweet looking like Miller Lite jacket and a whole Madry set with a cheese board and glasses and very expensive whiskey, a very expensive wine. And then, like a Jameson hoodie, Jameson hat, like a mixed bag. But there was also a $100 Amazon gift card, a $100 Apple gift card, and no one was stealing. So
there's art of the steal, right?
I got drawn right towards the end, and I'm like, someone already had the $100 Amazon gift card. That's pretty much just handing you $100 because everything's on Amazon.
Yeah.
So I go, I'm going to steal. And I take the Amazon gift card. The next person goes up, picks an envelope, gets $100 for Apple. The next person goes up and wins like a $280 smartwatch. And now we're down to the final person drawing. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to lose this. I'm going to be left with like a Jameson toque or something like that. And he goes up and he goes, I'm going to steal. And they're like, oh, fuck, like I'm going to lose this. My friend who won this very expensive watch is like, I'm going to lose this as well.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm going to steal. I want that box of chocolates. It's like,
wow.
What?
Does he not understand that he could take anything?
I don't think he understood the rules. So,
oh my God.
So yeah, I'm $100 up.
Maybe bro was munching and he's like, I could really use the chocolate right now.
It's like the Amazon delivery. They're so quick these days, but I ain't getting it right this second. So whereas chocolate right now sounds good. So that was pretty hilarious. And
I love that game though. I played it twice this Christmas. Like I played it with my Portuguese side of the family and my aunt and uncle who kind of set it up and helped with all these prizes. The one of the prizes were like these weird Portuguese like tuna spreads that they got from Portugal. But then like, so when you looked at it, you're like, oh, what? But then they like hid money in it. So it wasn't through halfway till the game when someone's like, wait a second, what's there in your pocket? And they're like, no, never mind. So then it became, there was money attached to it. So then people kept stealing that one. I did another one at my girlfriend's and she got a pressure cooker, slow cooker thing. So that's what I've been using all week now. I'm a gear slut here because I've got this like pressure cooker that I'm like, I don't even still understand how it works. You just put stuff in it and like I cooked.
They're good for soups, what I remember.
Yeah, like I cooked something last night where I like bought food, made it, put like the slow cooker thing, and then like set it for like 12 hours. And today I was like, oh my God, the best beer. So now I'm like, oh wow, this is what is that game? Like, what do you call it? Because White Elephant is what
I've heard. White Elephant.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's called that, but yeah, that's what I know it as.
Fantastic game. Only when you win good stuff because because when you walk out with just the chocolates, I don't know. That always sucks.
It was very odd. Like it was, you know what made it funny as well was there was another draw. There was like a separate raffle for Raptors tickets and for a TV. And the head chef won the TV and decided to gift it to one of our colleagues, which was very nice for him.
Oh, nice.
I got drawn pretty much right after that and was like, I'm stealing. So, yeah, no Christmas spirit from me. That was left behind in 2024. But
what a Grinch. Yeah.
Other news, this time next week, I'll be Canadian.
Whoa.
I found out today my ceremony is next Tuesday. So
nice.
I will... Next week should hopefully be the first Up Next hosted by two Canadians.
Wow. We got to celebrate. What are we going to do? We got to wear flannel?
Wear flannel.
Poutine? Listen to some Shania, Celine?
Chop down a tree or something.
Are we having a party? What are you going to do?
Well, I'll be in BC next Tuesday.
Oh, right. Yeah. Even more Canadian. Yeah. There you go.
So
wow.
That's
Congrats.
Exciting.
Welcome.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
You have to sing the anthem next week then.
I do. I actually have to sing the anthem on Zoom, the bilingual version as well. So,
bilingual version,
yeah, with the French verse, and yeah, pledge allegiance to the king as well.
Right. Oh yes, not the queen anymore. So now it's pledge allegiance to the king. Damn. All right. Well, you've done that already.
Yes. Yeah. I was born that way.
Yeah. Exactly.
What about you? Any news? What's going on? Did anything else from Raw took your eye yesterday at all?
Yeah. I'm like you. I'm trying to. I know you said you went to a party, so I guess your dry January is more of a damp January.
Yeah, like I'm taking it easy. Probably pick things up again in Feb, but yeah, I'm definitely taking it easy this month.
So I've been doing that too, but I did have a cheeky night out with our friend Graham. We went to see some stand-up comedy on the weekend. Nice. That was fun. Just been, I watched Raw. Like I skimmed through some stuff on Raw today. I liked the Penta stuff. again, I like the presentation of it. It looks like a big money show. And I had an issue with my Netflix actually watching it. And then as I'm like watching the first like 20 minutes of Raw, the promo battle, so I could still hear it at least. But I noticed my quality was weird. And like I said, I watch everything on Netflix all the time. I got a new TV at Christmas time, so my TV is nice. Everything's HD. Squid Game, nice HD. Wallace and Gromit, beautiful, nice HD. Watch Raw today, so the day after, it's like a potato. So I was like, what's going on here? So as I'm like in the chat with this guy, it just all of a sudden goes back. And the rest of the show is perfectly HD. Watching NXT, perfectly HD. I was like, okay, so that was weird. So
it's sometimes just if your internet drops a little bit or something like that.
Yeah, I guess maybe because it was like a live thing, and I know some people have some complaints about how you can't cast live events. So therefore, any WWE programming you can't Chromecast. So you have to have a smart TV. Yeah. You can't Chromecast. I just learned that as well. So that could be an issue for us watching the show. That's because I just had a discussion with Netflix today. Like, again, I was typing, hey, what's going on? I'm watching everything else. It's always in HD, like the 1080p. But then it fixed that. But then I also brought up, hey, how come people can't?
So it's casting from your computer to it. But like if you've got the app installed on like a Fire Stick or a Chromecast, that should be okay.
Or you can, or screen mirroring from your computer. But also a smart TV you would need to do that. So yeah, no Chromecast. I guess they're pushing that out. Like, hey, that's something we don't need anymore. Looks like that, because like I remember that was the case with the Mike Tyson fight. I was trying to use a Chromecast on a TV. I had the smart TV, but I was like, didn't realize this. So I was like sitting there like, why is this not working? Am I crazy? And then Twitter searching, I noticed a lot of other people. Same with if you search the same thing for WWE, everyone's kind of figuring this out as well. Like, wait a second, this isn't working. So they said it's an issue, a license issue, but it's
interesting.
For anyone out there.
I mean, pretty much everything has Netflix installed on it now, right?
Yeah.
It's only, you feel for people who maybe still have an old dumb TV, if you will, and using Chromecast, but I think the majority have smart now. Rumble, I think, shaping up pretty nicely. Like big heavy hitters announced so far. CM Punk announcing yesterday. So now you've got Punk, Drew, Seth, Cena, Roman. Sounds pretty stacked. Like
Corey Graves.
That final stretch. We'll get
maybe not him. We'll talk about that in a second.
But, that final stretch sounds pretty awesome. I think Jey Uso and LA Knight as well have been announced.
Yeah.
So some big names.
Yeah, this is a crazy stacked Rumble. I love the segment with Punk and Seth and Drew and Jey Uso. It all declared for the Rumble, as we say. That sounds like an old-timey way of announcing you're going to fight, and I love it. So this one's already stacked. You said it, like Punk, Roman, Cena, Seth, Drew, Jay, LA Knight, and a few more. And Penta, Rey Mysterio. I don't know. This could shape up. I know we always hype ourselves up and say this sounds like the biggest stacked Rumble, but like already those are some big names from the stars this year that are just huge. And Punk being thrown into that mix opens up some like fresh things and revisiting some history at the same time. But I'm also wondering if we get anyone else added that's big or surprises, because we're always batting to see our boy Steve Blackman show up in the Rumble. So knock on wood that does happen this year. But anyone else you think is going to show up in that match?
I see Joe Hendry winning the TNA title at Genesis, and I could totally see him showing up at the Rumble as a surprise. I think that's going to happen. I think the women's Rumble, really, no one's announced anything for that yet. And I think now it's time to start possibly focusing on that a little as well. But yeah, I'm very excited because I think there's so many different directions you can go. Like we've heard that the rumored matches are Punk and Roman and Cena and Cody. They seem to be the rumored matches. But one of the things I found interesting from Raw this week was Sami Zayn. The whole segment with The Miz and kind of driving home that you've never been world champion. Well, as soon as you start putting that into story, it tends to be the first step to building to someone eventually being a world champion. Sure. And Sami talking to Adam Pearce as well. We know the transfer window's open. Like, long shot, but could Owens actually win the title at Rumble? And could we have Sami versus Kevin for the title at Mania? If you're going Cody and Cena, does that need the title? Isn't that big enough as it is? I don't know. I just found it felt like on yesterday's Raw that it was kind of part 1 to, which could be a year-long story or whatever, but Sami eventually having a world title to his name.
I mean, that's some great wishful thinking for sure. Like some great fantasy booking. And I mean, I was one of the jokers being like, yo, just put it on Kevin at Saturday night's main event. And instead they just gave him the other title. So it's like, okay, so he has that. The ladder match should be awesome. I think this should be like a classic ladder match. And I know we're pretty fed up with ladder matches, but a one-on-one ladder match, I think these two guys will knock it out the park. But that's interesting. Like, it makes it a bit more interesting. Not going to lie. Not saying Cody. I know Cody's has his haters for this run, but I think the run has been still pretty good. He's had has some good matches in it still and a good story weaving in and out of stuff. So, yeah, Kevin winning is wild and Sami chasing for that. So Sami wins the Rumble or Sami wins the Chamber here in Toronto? Like, what are you saying?
Oh, Sami winning the Chamber and
right?
Yeah, that would be awesome. And then, because we've had it at Mania, but it was, Logan Paul's involved. It was Sami as a heel.
Oh, yeah. Like, awful. Weird.
WWE title, Kevin Owens, heel champion, Sami Zayn chasing. Like, that sounds awesome.
Again, I think wishful thinking, but it does sound good. Because another thing is just Cena versus Cody for the title, and Cena doesn't get it done or does get it done, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. But this year's Rumble, like, has some big names in it. And like you said, there's so many different directions you can go. With The Rock not being here, it opens up some like fresher matches that we can go to.
I think so. And I think there's a lot of combinations that I would be happy with as well going into this Mania. So I think that makes the Rumble very open, especially when you've got 2 titles. It's really, it makes it a little less predictable.
Yeah. I think. Because then the person can choose and there's different things you could do with it. Like, yeah, I mean, that is their big title. Cody winning it. Kevin needs a moment with the title too.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion. But I don't know. I still think Cody's going to beat him at the only way Kevin Owens can win the title is do what I've been saying for him to do, especially last Sunday on Poisonrana. We were going off about WWE and A-dubs and stuff, but he needs to become the Steen again. I need the pile driver on the ladders, ladder war style. That's how he beats Cody if he does. So, like, maybe we see it. He's done it already to Cody.
They're going to be hanging both titles up.
Yeah.
Like, could you see something where both titles come down? Like,
right.
So swap titles. Or
so Cody's now the classic champ.
Yeah,
and Cena's
exactly.
like, I want that one, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, CM Punk just put an X over his, but Kevin's got the classic eagle here. I like it. But there's a lot of interesting things going to, like, the Rumble's February 1st, which seems so weird because it's February, but that's a few weeks away. And, like, already the hype for this pay-per-view is good. And I don't know, I'm still buzzing. I always get hyped about seeing surprises in the Rumble. Like, some people I want to see, you don't need to sign them, but for a one appearance for a face-to-face, Jeff Hardy and CM Punk in the middle of the ring for a Royal Rumble, I'd like to see that. I know RVD's floating around. He is surprised. Like, that'd be cool. There's a few people that are like signed, like think TNA guys or TNA women as well in that match. Like, now that they're like open to, Triple H seems a bit more open to having like other people from other places show up. Like, it's pretty cool because they haven't utilized the surprises in the last few years as well as like I think they could. Look at the pop Carlito got in Puerto Rico. It basically gave him a job for like a year. Doesn't matter if it's Indianapolis, you bring out someone that's like an old school. We all love our old mid-carders. So if Bob Holly shows up, I'm fucking losing my mind. Okay.
X-Pac, I could see
X-Pac
as a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he has to come out to Uncle Cracker, though.
Okay, right. We do have a super chat from Jake. Thank you very much, Jake, who sent us $6. We appreciate it. Saying, nearly a year in, how do you feel about Cody's title reign overall? I think he's gone above and beyond. At the same time, wish for him to have fresher feuds. Yeah, he feels like I'm not sick of him as champion at all. I think he feels like a top guy. He plays that role very, very well. I think the problem is with a lot of WWE at the moment, I think we found it with some of the women's titles as well, is we know what the big matches are going to be. We know they're gearing for a big SummerSlam match and a big Mania match. And it's those things in between where it's really hard to buy. Like, it was really hard to buy AJ Styles beating Cody at Backlash. Great match, but you go in and you're like, well, AJ's not winning this. And I think we've been going into like some of these Kevin Owens matches a little bit like that as well. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing we've got away from just the flip-flopping of titles like was so popular back in, you know, the 90s and noughties. But so I'd say that like there hasn't necessarily been the stakes on some of his matches, but I think he's completely the right choice for champion. And I think he's gone out and had really good matches during this reign as well, despite all of that.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely carried the company on his back this year. He's had a great run so far. I mean, not even been a full year at this point, but like, yeah, I can see people's point of maybe like a boring run maybe right now, because there's been a lot of pay-per-views where he's been tag matches with the Bloodline and this and that. But I still think it's been pretty good, and he still manages to. I know Cody's not for everyone, but I've been following it, and I'm really looking forward to the Rumble match with him and Kevin and everything. But appreciate the super chat, Jake. Thank you very much,
Jake.
But yes, very excited about the Rumble. If you are in the Toronto area, we are throwing a Royal Rumble party. Get your tickets now, because we probably won't be able to let you in as a walk-in. So get your tickets, because limited tickets, they're flying off the shelf if there was an actual shelf for them to be on. But Poisonrana.ca for the link to our event right there. It is February 1st, Gabby's King Street West. We will be having the wrestling drinks. We'll be having the prizes. We'll be having the Rumble pools. Oh, there'll be Rumble pools. We're going to be swimming. It's going to be fun. I'm very looking forward to this. It's always the most fun because it's the Rumble. No, you can't emulate the like countdowns and the excitement and all that stuff. So it's going to be a fun time. And if you're in the Toronto area, we would love to see you.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night. Please get your tickets in advance. I really don't think we're going to be able to do walk-ups for this one. Just the way it looks like we're going to have karaoke after the event, which is going to be great. Like, finish the Rumble and then sing some songs. It's going to be a lot of fun. But that does take a little bit of space away as well. So really, like, if you want to come, if you are in the area, please go to Poisonrana.ca and get your tickets now, because we've already sold about 50% of the tickets, and they only went on sale a couple of days ago. So don't wait for the day is what I'll say.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll figure out how Chromecasting works. Hopefully
we'll be good. No, we're fine. We're fine. We've got that sorted.
But we're really proud of not only being part of the post wrestling community here, but being like Toronto wrestling fans, and the Poisonrana community has been awesome through these events. And we do it just to have the community. And sometimes, you know, watching the big events, not by yourself is a lot of fun. So appreciate anyone out there who showed up. And I know we'll be seeing lots of your faces on February 1st. So can't wait to rumble, young man, rumble.
Absolutely. Well, I think before going into NXT, there is a bit of NXT news. Braden, imagine chasing your dream, then being told, not deciding, that you're no longer physically able to pursue your dream. Oh, then you dedicate your life to something dream adjacent and being pretty fucking awesome at it. And then when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told you're not famous enough for your own job, just in case you've wondered where I've been. Oh, I've got a lot to say. So don't miss WWE NXT tonight on the CW tonight. Microphone emoji, flame emoji. What is going on? This, of course, coming from the Twitter of a Mr. Corey Graves over the last day. Dave Meltzer reporting that this is a shoot and a work.
Classic Dave.
I
love Dave.
Was kind of maybe expecting something like, is this an angle? Obviously, we had nothing of this on NXT. No mention of Graves. What is going on?
I mean, it didn't help that NXT started with no commentary for the first 5 minutes. It's like, uh-oh, what did Corey Graves do? Whoa, what is going on? Did they get rid of the whole
commentary? It's Corey, Mustafa Ali, and Sami Callihan just like hacking the commentary feeds. Yeah,
the savior of misbehavior is back in NXT. But that wasn't the case because Corey Graves was not present on NXT tonight. So, yeah, I saw that tweet yesterday. Was it yesterday or Monday night? And it was interesting. Like, I feel for the guy for sure. He's worked a whole lot. We were joking about it last week. It was kind of odd that he was shoehorned into Vic Joseph and Booker T, which again might not be everyone's cup of tea, but like they bounce off each other like great. So it was weird having Corey there. It just didn't feel right. And I'm sure what didn't feel right was that pat on the back from Vic Joseph. that probably put Corey over the edge. That was like, I'm done. So that was weird. But like, it's WWE. This happens quite a lot. I mean, if you've watched wrestling for a long time, you'd see all the different, and you'd hear all the different stories of announcers, commentators being like, switch shows. Look at Jim Ross, the history of stuff that he went through, and
we'll be talking about that on the Champ is Here tomorrow with
Jim
Ross.
Jim Ross, yeah, SmackDown Jim Ross. Like, I feel like this happens all the time. And it's like, I don't think they were gonna like fire you or release you. Like, they clearly put you on NXT to like maybe to have something for you, but like you could be chilling and then Pat goes away for football or whatever, they put you back. I don't know. Like, I feel for him because he has been like the voice for quite a while. Hell, the Rumble commercial, the WrestleMania commercial is all his voice in it that they aired tonight. But I do also see like, hey, they do this a lot. It's not just this isn't personal. Like, this is something they do to a lot of other people, and most likely you'll just be shuffled back onto a show anytime soon.
I mean, so. I still feel in the long run, once Cole hangs up the headset, that it's Graves' job.
Yeah.
Like, as the lead play-by-play in this company. Now, also it is Rumble season. Like, could this just be, he's got Carmella had a baby last year.
Right.
Could it be, I think Pat, is it March Madness he goes away? I'm trying to think when he normally goes away. Like, it will be in a few months.
Yeah, exactly.
Could it be like, hey, take some time, be with your family, let's do an angle, and maybe it feeds into a surprise appearance at the Rumble? Because we know he was cleared 2 years ago, I think, and he hasn't done anything. Could it be like a work? We've seen these sort of, especially NXT using them. Think of the Brooks Jensen stuff and things like that. Could this just be a bit of a work for the moment? Give Corey a bit of a rest, because that guy, like, at one point it felt like he was calling every single show. Like, he was working so much. It might just be a bit of a break. I don't know. Do you take this as him legit being disgruntled, or a mix of the two, or what?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, if you're that upset, would you have put that tweet? I don't know. I just feel like it was a little sour. So maybe it could be. I'm kind of not excited if Corey Graves is coming back to wrestling. That's no disrespect to him. I don't mind him as a commentator, but
for like a Rumble spot, something like that, or like work something that way. I
don't know if that's the case. Like, is this just legit that he's actually like hot-headed? Like, has he not done or said some things in the past like this? Is this not like the first time something like this has happened? Can't remember.
He's had Twitter fingers before, hasn't he? Like, there've been a few things. There was the stuff with Mauro Ranallo a few years ago where Corey got a bit of heat for that. Like,
well, if it's not an angle, I think the phone should stay down. Yeah. Isn't that his thing? Stay down.
Yeah.
We know a lot about this guy's wrestling, because you should follow What's Next on our Patreon, because we followed his entire career.
I feel we know more about Corey's wrestling than a lot of people.
Yeah.
And as excited as some people might be about him returning to the ring. And like, look, it sucks if your career's ended short and
Absolutely.
He wants to pursue it. Like, good for him. He's not the most dynamic wrestler in the world. He'll
get a spot if that's.
He's a Randy Orton with submissions. That's basically his style. It's not the most exciting style in the world, and especially 10 years later, I can't imagine it being much more entertaining. I
don't know. It feels like this is not an angle to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought it was going into NXT, and then Johnny Gargano at DIY shows up, and Corey recently on commentary has been just slagging off Johnny Gargano a lot. I'm like, oh, could he show up with an angle with them? No. Then I see a car pull up and some boots and skinny jeans step out. I'm like, they could be Corey Graves' legs. No, they're Bailey's, but they could have been Corey's. And then the show ends. I'm like, okay, it's maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very odd though, but
Yeah, like the tweet is still up as we're recording. Like, so it's like, I don't know, maybe it is. I can't say my interest is like, oh my god, is this real? It's not like that. I don't feel like that. I'm just like, oh, like why would you tweet that? Because it seemed maybe he's actually pissed.
Yeah,
but you know, he's been commenting. He's been on the desk for a long time, and I think he has been doing a good job. So.
Jake saying that Pat won't be gone until the fall for college, so college football. So that's quite.
Pat's going to college. Nice.
Pat's going to college.
Did you see the thing he did like the Tuesday after on his show with the guy dressed as Hulk Hogan? It was pretty funny. Yeah, Pat's an interesting one too. I could be maybe he's mad that he lost his job to Pat. Is that what Corey's mad at?
Well, I think him saying to someone more famous, I think it's both Tessitore and Pat. Right, because they're bigger names outside of wrestling.
Sorry, is that the team? What's the team? What's the Raw
it's
team?
Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett on SmackDown, and Pat and Cole on Raw.
Wade Barrett, he was calling NXT, and then it worked out for him. So yeah.
Anyways. And Vic at one point was calling Raw.
Vic Joseph.
And he seems perfectly fine in NXT.
Vic Joseph is completely grown on me. I hope that he stays with WWE. Like, I think he could be a real like asset to them, and I truly mean that. And I'm not saying maybe with Booker T his whole career, but like I do find them pretty entertaining, as we'll talk about. You know, we go through the history of commentators in NXT. It's not just developmental for the wrestlers, but for the commentators. And we've talked about William Regalisms. We've talked about Renee calling women's matches. Talked about Jason Albert. We know about the commentary ways. I miss Tom too. He was good. He was nice.
Yeah. Oh, Tom was great.
Yeah. Love that guy. Anyways, let's talk about some NXT.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about the show we're here to talk about. It's time to talk about some NXT from Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. We're back in Florida at the Performance Center here with our NXT recap of last week at New Year's Evil, featuring the great one, the final boss. And we see Oba Femi winning the NXT title. We see Julia winning the NXT women's title. And big recap. Two new champions going into a new era of NXT here tonight. So big things popping. They did a great rating last week. Everyone was talking about The Rock being on NXT. No one was really talking about what The Rock was talking about on NXT, but everyone was talking about The Rock on NXT. So.
What did he say again?
I have no idea. I know he said fuck like maybe 14 times. And fuck it, he's still The Rock. Love him. But yeah, what was that? What was that about? So we start off here with Oba Femi, the new champion, comes out here. Oh yeah, here he comes in a great shirt. This is like the Bloods and the Crips together here.
He's got that championship money now, hasn't he?
Yeah. Maybe The Rock gave him a place to shop.
I think so.
When they showed footage of The Rock meeting Oba and The Rock meeting Julia last week on social media, and maybe The Rock whispered in his ear like, hey, you're looking for shirts? This is where you go. So he comes out looking nice, this red and blue shirt with the NXT title, and he says, Destiny has arrived, just like I have arrived, and I have taken my rightful place on the throne of NXT. And then he does this great American nerdy voice where he's like, oh, I always knew I could do it. No, I always knew I could do it. And great accent flip there.
Yeah. And do you think that's his real voice?
No, but I do question if the voice he uses on TV is his real voice.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was pretty funny though. That got me. He then says that I am backed by Destiny and all this belongs to the ruler and I'm going to rule how I see fit. And Trick is good, but that Eddie, he's a rat. He's a cockroach that just won't die when he's interrupted, but not by Eddie, not by Trick, but by Tony D'Angelo, who comes out and he goes, oh, my buddy, my guy, how you doing? And you forgot something though. You might be the NXT champion, but you forget it's the Don 2, the Ruler 1, referring to the fact that these two were beefing over the North American Championship. And if you're wondering how Tony got the title, he beat Oba Femi, therefore defeating his streak here in NXT. He says, I am the man to defeat you. And maybe double title Don has a little ring to it when Oba says, yeah, well, last time I saw you, I think he says last week, but I think he meant last time I saw you, you were getting your ass dropped by Santa Claus, referring to Ridge Holland. And he says, oh, I'll take care of Ridge. When Ridge comes out and says, hey, I got you a belated gift. And it's a photo of Tony beaten up with Ridge dressed as Santa from a few weeks ago. And Tony says, hey, let me come down there and I'll sign it for you. As he runs down, they start to brawl when this distraction allows Eddie Thorpe to slide in the ring. He attacks Femi, hits a DDT and starts like whipping him with, I'm not sure what this was, like a strap or a belt or something, and then laughs and runs away.
Yeah, it was, I think, it kind of calling back to the strap match with Dijak, right? So I assume we're getting Eddie, and I mean, they've announced the match for next week, Eddie v. Oba, but I kind of feel we'll get a strap match down the line as well.
Yeah, so lots of different swerves and turns here. So like Tony basically staking his claim, like, hey, I'm not forgetting about you and you shouldn't forget about me. So I think that's an interesting story we can revisit. But Ridge and Tony, I'm not that excited about. Sorry, Ridge. But the Eddie thing, like, I'm like, whatever. But I did think that was cool, like using that, beating him down, and then where it kind of goes later, that Eddie is maybe a bit smarter than a lot of people are giving him credit for. So I like Femi on the mic. He sounds like so stoic, like an actual like champion and a ruler. Yeah. Like he's so believable. He's massive. He's huge.
Yeah, I like that he got some comedy in here as well. I thought he was sounded pretty good. I hope he doesn't start relying on the movie quotes too much. You know, he's quoted Thanos. There was another movie quote he quoted the other week. It could get a little played out, right. And just the same traps that we see with some people. Like I always refer to Charlotte Flair, like over relying on I am a queen, I am a ruler, that kind of thing. But
right.
I think he's got a great presence. I think he's got quite a unique promo. Like he does not just accent, but delivery sounds different from everyone else there. So I think he's completely the right guy to be the champ at the moment.
Yeah, he's definitely believable. He's the whole package at this point. So and we're definitely going to Eddie. It is announced later, but we'll see how we get there in a little bit. We go backstage. We see some people watching NXT. We see Dante Chen, Andre Chase, Hank and Tank. When Ethan Page walks in and he starts talking, he's like, oh, do you know what DJ told me last week? Oh, you guys might know him as The Rock, but, you know, to me, he's DJ.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson. Love that. He then says, did you see that? Did you see? Because he's my pal. And Dante and everyone's kind of rolling their eyes and like, oh, God. And he's like, oh, what did you get up to last week, Dante? And Dante's like, doesn't even matter. And Ethan says, yeah, I can smell it. Can you smell it? Oh, wait, no. Doesn't he do The Rock? He does The Rock thing. Sorry.
Yeah, he did The Rock, but he's clearly been hanging out with Ashanti as well. Because he went, it doesn't Ethan matter to Dante Chen.
I didn't catch that he said Ethan. If
yeah, it doesn't Ethan matter.
So he does the Rock's joke on Dante here, and he falls for it. So Dante's even more upset. And then he says, like, oh, I can smell the jealousy. And Dante says, yeah, well, can you smell that? No one even wants you here. Like, no one likes you. Everyone hates you. And Ethan says, yeah, well, like, whatever I couldn't understand whatever Javon was saying in his promo last week because he was talking through the wire. And Dante gets mad and says, well, I'm going to go talk to Ava and I'm going to get a match made with you. So Ethan's like, sure, whatever. So that will happen later on tonight. But yeah, I like this like reset of Ethan Page since the Javon stuff. He's like a completely reset character. He was really geeky before even as the champion. It wasn't believable. Something wasn't clicking. I don't know what it was, but ever since the Javon stuff, now he's did it on-screen thing with The Rock. Ethan Page must be like glowing. He must be buzzing. So
yeah,
he's on a bit of a run right now. I'm loving the character.
Yeah, me too. And you know, I kind of enjoy Dante Chen as well. We've seen him in this role as this sort of you know, he's a jobber. He's enhancement talent in NXT, but he always kind of stands up for stuff as well. We've seen him do this with Alexis King and I think maybe even with Ethan Page down at some point.
Yeah.
I think he was his first offense, wasn't he, against Ethan Page,
right?
against
Okay.
Dante Chen. So a bit of history there. I always enjoy Dante a little bit.
Yeah. We have Stephanie Vaquer come out, but we go to commercial break. When we come back, we see talent showing up. We did kind of mention earlier, but we kind of glossed over that there was no commentary for the first few minutes of the show. It wasn't like until this match started that, like maybe a minute into the match, that the commentary did finally kick in, where you just hear Booker T yelling and it's peaking. And I'm like, oh, they're back. Actually, wait, no, turn it back off. Turn it back. I actually was very peaceful for a little bit there, but yeah, it was weird. Like,
yeah, it seems to be that they're muting it for sponsors, right? And then someone just forgot to put it back on, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Is like, who cares about sponsors? Look at Netflix; they have sponsors in their movies.
I mean, it's been
or CW, I don't know.
Us watching in Canada, me used to watch in the UK all the time. It's advertising stuff that we're not able to see on channels we don't have. So
fair.
It must be for certain reasons, but I wouldn't overly worry about it if I was them.
I just like maybe someone didn't click the button back.
Yeah.
When they came back, because like you're supposed to unmute them again. Because it was weird when it shows the talent walking in earlier today, and it was just the music playing, and it was like, oh, okay. And then the match started, and it was like, because they were lucky because the first segment was them talking, like the Oba and the wrestlers talking, so you didn't need the commentary unless you have Pat McAfee doing the ad libs. But like. You didn't notice, and then it was finally this match where you're like, wait a second. But they did come back for this matchup here: Shotzi Blackheart versus Stephanie Vaquer, a #1 contenders match for the North American Women's Championship. Vaquer kind of getting the short end of the stick here a little bit. She won the 4-way to get the title shot, and then Shotzi ended up pinning Fallon, and then it's also now this is the #1 contender match.
Yeah.
So like, kind of bad. But Ava, like, come on, what's going on with that? Kind of strange. But so I'd be mad. So this starts off. I love Shotzi's theme song. Welcome to the ball pit. You're going to get your ass kicked. I forgot about that. Great stuff. No tank still, though, but we're working on that, I'm sure. Well, we get a fist bump of honor here from the two women who go at it here. Commentary comes back. Booker screaming at me. There's an O'Connor roll from Shotzi for a near fall, and then an Enziguri, and then a crossbody off the top. Shotzi looking pretty good here. Eventually, though, she gets caught by Stephanie in that neck lock with the legs, and then the most famous move in NXT, or as Booker T likes to call it, the as he just starts to moan frantically. This is not the first time he's done this, but a moment of clarity with Booker T as he just really enjoys watching the face smash from Stephanie Vaquer on NXT. He's H on main. That's what Booker T is. We go to commercial. When we come back, Shotzi hits a Frankensteiner off the top. I know she would like to be that move to be called that. There's then a cannonball into the corner, and then Steph comes back with his hip toss into the corner, and then a Meteora. When JC Jane, some reason, gets involved here, she's on the apron and then gets thrown into the ring, and they double headbutt her, and then the ref is there. There's some kind of confusion, and I think it's Fallon who nails Stephanie, and then Shotzi doesn't see that, so then rolls up Vaquer and gets the 1, 2, 3. So therefore, it's Shotzi versus Fallon for the North American title, I believe, maybe next week or the week after. But kind of a weird ending with JC getting in the ring and then the other stuff, and Shotzi, who's a babyface, kind of not seeing that and winning. But aside from that, I think the match was actually surprising a little like good back and forth between the two. I thought one of Shotzi's definitely improved since being away, but I was still like, that was weird.
Yeah, I mean they've been having the Vaquer Fatal Attraction, Fatal Influence, feud go on for a while. So I don't think it was that out of nowhere.
No, I don't mean out of nowhere. I just mean the way it was presented. Like you had her in the ring, they were beating her up, and then the other all for distract. There was a lot of like distractions that caused distractions in one swift motion that wasn't that swift. But that's what I meant.
I thought Shotzi looked better here than she often does. Like she's very hit and miss, and like can be quite sloppy at times. But I thought this was a better showing for her. Stephanie's great. So this is for the Atlanta show. This match, right?
Yes, they will announce that. But yes, this is in 2 weeks, I think.
So 2 weeks in Atlanta. So building up for Stephanie and Fallon, I assume, at Vengeance Day.
Yes. So easily they're going towards this because you'd imagine Stephanie versus Fallon is maybe saved for Vengeance Day. right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they're going to prolong the story of them messing with Vaquer. So I think that match could be pretty good, and Vaquer can still beef with them and kind of align herself with Shotzi and her goth friends. She fits in, right? She's got devil horns and stuff. She could be one of the. Is there another Spice Girl? She could be Mojo Jojo or whatever. But yeah, that I didn't mind this. I'm kind of looking forward to the match too. So good showing from Shotzi and Stephanie. Yep. We go backstage. We see Kalani, Jordan, and some other women in the locker room when Cora and Kalani start to argue. And Cora says, "Look at you, Kalani. You're just still the same old girl, letting people walk all over you." And she goes, "I'm not the same old girl," and slaps her across the face and walks off. And it sets up a match later between Kalani Jordan and Cora Jade. Things got heated backstage. Slap.
Yeah, Kalani's fed up of kind of being... It doesn't overly work because she's already been a champion. I think that's the thing that I'm not getting. I get that they're trying to get a bit of an edge to Kalani, not necessarily turning heel, maybe yet, but they're definitely trying to give her an edge. But I do find it funny, like some of these characters who are, who have never won a singles title in NXT, who are babying her. It doesn't overly make sense to me.
Yeah, I do. Like I've been saying for a while, it's like they're slowly doing the Roxanne thing where it's like you got this squeaky clean baby face, good wrestler, but needs to figure out a character and, freedom of being a heel and all that helps build your character, I guess. So she's slowly like she's arguing and slapping a heel, but she's slowly like getting a bit more of an edge to her. So yeah, we'll go to that match later on. When we come back from a break, we see Oba is in the locker in the office of Ava with Mr. Stone and Stevie in the background there.
Yeah.
And Oba's like, "Ava, Eddie wants a shot. Well, we're going to give him a shot. All right. We're going to give him a shot at the title. If that's what he wants, we'll give him what he wants." And Ava's like, "What do you mean we? No, I'm not giving him that match. That's what he wants you to do." And he's like, "No." And Mr. Stone comes around the table and says, Oba, listen, man, look, Eddie's just playing you. You don't understand. And Oba lifts him up, slams him against this wall, and says, like, "Shut the fuck up. I'll fucking kill you."
I feel sorry for Robert Stone at this point. I really don't think he deserves all the shit he gets.
I mean, maybe you shouldn't have, mind your business, buddy. Maybe you didn't need to say that to him.
Yeah.
Like the guy wants to fight Eddie Thorpe. Who's it to say? Who are you to say you shouldn't?
Yeah.
So maybe he brings this on to himself. I still don't know what their role is in this. They're just there to help Ava. Very, very funny. It's clearly what the story is of Eddie is exactly playing everyone again. So
for sure,
Ava didn't want to fall for it, but Oba's like, "I don't care. I want to kill him," which will probably what's going to happen. I noticed though, Oba, like he's a beast, and I'm not saying he's not, but he lifted Stone up and then realized, "I can't hold you in this position like this." So he slowly, before he even finished the thing, he was already like right back down. But
he held, like, he didn't even really grab him that hard, did he? He was like just pushed him up.
He's Mr. Stone's, still made out of stone, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So still not a small guy. We go to something I noticed. So shout out to the Canadian Netflix viewers and I guess international, but we get the Netflix WWE "We'll Be Right Back" music, which every time I hear now, it took me 1 week, Davey, and I'm already fucking bump into this shit. I'm like, turn it up. I want to just play this through the whole show. Sort of kidding. But I noticed that some people were saying that they got picture in picture. So obviously we weren't, if you were watching on Netflix, we didn't get to see some of that in different things because people were saying there was a shot of Stephanie Vaquer leaving after the match and then kind of running into Tony D'Angelo and then walking on. So
yeah, this was the same last week. I guess it's maybe something to do with, CW are paying for that picture in picture or something where Netflix aren't. I don't know. There's going to be differences in different territories and stuff. But yeah, we didn't get any P&P last week either.
Right.
Which when we're watching on Sportsnet, we never got P&P. It was only when we'd watch the US feed that we'd get it.
Yeah. Miss those CW commercials though. Is Craig Robinson somewhere? He's still singing about pizza.
always singing about that. There's cleft lips and
oh no, I hate those ones. Oh yeah. Oh, I like Sky Rizzy. That shit slaps. Ozempic.
Okay.
Those are sick. Those are some sick commercials with ads and music.
Sure.
But the new song is growing on me. We come back from commercial break and the song playing, and we see. Sorry, I don't think it was Tony D'Angelo. I think it was Ethan Page and Stephanie Vaquer, like kind of had a backstage interaction.
Right.
I don't know because I didn't see it, but I saw people in our chats were all like, "Hey!" For anyone who didn't see, Ethan Page is in the ring now here with a microphone. Sorry, no, he's having a match as we hear his theme song. Ego. Dante Chen makes his entrance and gets a big pop. The Florida crowd love Dante Chen. However, the love was not enough to keep him alive very long in this match. He gets beat down on. Right before like the match can even start in the ring, Ethan attacks him, but Dante fights back. So the ref rings the bell as we get like a picture-in-picture of the Meta Girls working out backstage as they're getting ready for a match. But then Ethan like just fights as Dante tries to hit some flash moves. It's Ethan hitting. Was this just a cutter? Looked like just a RKO kind of thing. Or?
He strings him up on so he strings his throat up on the ropes and then kind of does the like cutter. So he's obviously
So like a Tower of London?
Yeah.
So he pins Dante really quickly here, but the story comes after the match. He takes the boot off this guy and then puts his leg in between the steel steps and the ring post, and Dante's screaming like, no, please don't do this. As Booker T is like, he asked for this, and Vic is like, what do you mean? He's like, no, he asked for this. Vic's like, bro, jeez, chill. So Ethan Page then looks Dante right in the eye and says, mind your business, and slams this steel step onto his ankle, onto his boot with no boot on, just the sock on, and ouchie. As Ethan Page continues the assault when Javon Evans runs out with a huge reaction here, looking like a bat out of hell, runs right after Ethan Page, but it takes one shot to the mouth from Ethan to knock down Javon as he beats down on him. And I guess Javon got the blood packs ready again because he's spitting out some blood here as the refs and the trainees are like, no, get away from him. So I loved the scene of this horrific spot from Ethan Page to Dante and then Javon coming out. But I think you should have got Ethan scurrying away because it just killed the momentum of the whole. He runs out, the crowd are reacting. I'm watching like, oh shit, here we go. And then right away it's like, oh no, he's down. It was like, oh, nice try. But I thought this was great. Again, the Ethan Page Javon story feud angle with the injuries and stuff is really working for me and probably my favorite thing on the show and going.
Yeah, I also quite liked the match. I thought Dante, in as little as he did, really impressed. I think his striking game's looking good. And this crowd like him. Obviously a lot of this crowd would have seen him doing Level Up and that kind of stuff. And I think he looked good. And yeah, the angle, I've been enjoying this stuff. I like that Ethan's got more of an edge now. It's giving Javon a big storyline to do. Just I'm no doctor, but do you bleed when you break a bone? Do you know what he's broken his jaw, right? Where's this blood coming? Where's his blood coming?
His mouth, the teeth, cause you to bleed. I don't know. It's a bit much with it. We didn't need the blood again. We saw you basically.
I thought this time was a bit much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not I think if you can hide it well, I'm not against using fake blood to
sure
make an impact. But I thought it was. I don't know if this would actually happen if you were to have your jaw broken, that you just be re-broken, whether it would cause you to bleed or not. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Part of me is you don't need to do this. You didn't need to do the blood here. The blood on the first one, maybe the timing, the camera, it looks good on the edits and synths, but it looks great because he spits it out, right? Because he got the stomp on the thing with the neck of the chair. But here, he just got punched in the mouth. It's oh, I was healing for the last few weeks, but now I got punched in the same spot again. Oh, damn. Yeah. And I just start bleeding all over. Just start bleeding everywhere. Yeah. I'm not saying I don't like the fake blood, but once in a while, you got to run the blade, brother. You got to. Yeah. I'm not saying you got to stick a razor in your mouth and actually bleed, but yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I like this feud. I imagine Vengeance Day is where we go to this match. I know that's a while.
Do you see a gimmick for this match as well? I could see like an Extreme Rules or something
Please,
like that for this.
Just not a first blood match. Because
no
blood pack match.
We haven't had one of them for a long time, have we?
I don't like that step. It also cannot work, and then it's like
it's just so risky. Bleeding. I think.
Yeah, the guy could be bleeding, and it's like, oh shit, okay. I hope we like. That's a long time. Vengeance Day is like a month away, but at the same time, well, we can talk about that because Vengeance Day is in DC, and here on NXT tonight, they announced that they will be doing a show Tuesday, January 28th, center stage in Atlanta, Georgia, Hotlanta. So if you're in the Atlanta area, go to NXT on January 28th. Pretty cool. Like they're doing these little hot spotting around, jumping to different Tuesdays.
Yeah, I love it. Like I think it's been good for this show. I think it makes it feel more important. And yeah, they've been picking interesting venues and stuff. Yeah, I've been liking it.
I think it's great for NXT. We've been talking about it over the last few years of like, hey, since we got rid of the 2.0 stink, at least some people have, doing shows outside of the PC and outside of their normal Florida hub is good. And Atlanta's not that far. I mean, from them exactly. So
I'm losing you a little there. Sorry.
So can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
So like, I think this is good. We've always said that like they should do this and doing more shows out of the way. It's kind of tough to get people to show up because it's in 2 weeks. Like it's not giving a lot of people a lot of time to, it's like, hey, we're doing this in 2 weeks. And it's like, oh shit. Like that could be an issue too. Like maybe you could have announced this a little bit more ago, but
yeah, I imagine ticket prices will be fairly reasonable for NXT and we'll see. I mean, they've even with lower attendances, they've been making these shows look great that NXT have been putting on.
Yeah, I think they do well. So I'm excited. And if you are going to this show, let us know. We'd love some live perspective and feedback about what's going on. So we know we're getting Shotzi versus Fallon, and I'm sure by next week we get some other matches. And maybe Ethan versus Javon then. But I mean, the dude was spitting out blood, so don't know if he's ready for that. But yeah, pretty cool. They're going on the road because Vengeance Day is also in DC. So there you go, moving the PLEs around and everything.
Right.
We see Femi backstage. He's walking when Dion Lennox says, hey, maybe one day I'll face you and win the title. One day. And Oba just no-sells him and walks off. Yeah. He's probably like, I don't even know who you are.
Who's that guy?
He walks off, then the camera pans. This is classic Sean NXT, where we're going to see 3 different things happening in the backstage area. Everyone's waiting for their scene to start. Oh, wait. Okay, now the camera's on us. Sean Spears is with Adriano Rizzo. And he's talking about, like, does the Don treat you well? Like, think maybe you're not doing things for the right thing. When Izzy Dame comes in and says, I told you, I don't need you to, I want you to stop bugging me. It's like, yo, he wasn't even bugging you this time. He's bugging her. So, and she goes,
yeah,
and leave her alone too. It's like, yo, she didn't. Anyway, this made me laugh a lot. Like he's not even bothering her. He wasn't doing a completely anything. Different person. And she's like, yo, you better leave me alone, bro. It's like, yo, you're the one. Anyways, so they argue and she walks off. So maybe Sean Spears causing some tension between Rizzo and the family, and then Izzy Dame and whatnot. I'm not quite sure here, but it's not over.
I feel Izzy's eventually got to join him, right? Like this where else is this going otherwise? But I can't see he's just playing with Rizzo here because he wants Tony's title. But
right.
Apart from that, yeah.
So the camera then pans to NXT's favorite couple or couple to be. I'm jumping the gun here. It's Carmen Petrovich and Ashanti, the Adonis, and they're together standing next to each other. And he goes, oh, it's a new year. It's a fresh start, new start. And he says, how about we start officially? She goes, officially? About damn time. And then grabs him and gives him a smooch. And
I mean, this should have been the go home angle of the show, right? This was the biggest thing to come out of NXT this week. Finally, they are together. They are a couple. Officially started January 14th. So everyone get ready, because going into Vengeance Day, we're going to have some great dating angles, aren't we? We're going to go to a restaurant maybe. Oh, yeah.
Think Valentine's Day is a month away, fellas. Write it down.
Okay, who is the one who who's going to be freaked out by the sushi if they're going on a date?
No, please don't go back to the sushi place. Go to Tony's place. Good pasta, good times.
Yeah.
Good vibes. Please don't go to the, what was that? Zoe Stark?
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't forget, Zoe, what you did with the sushi.
So disrespectful.
Yeah. This was a lot of to take in one thing. It's like the Oba Femi talking to someone, then this person, but it's all like little reminders of, where we're going with certain stories. But yes, Carmen and Ashanti, true love. Will it last?
I like how they just wait till they're at work.
Yeah. Also, wait.
It's
the camera's not on them yet, even though they're there the whole time. They're fucking there. And then when the camera's there, they're, oh, wait, hey.
They couldn't have done this like last Wednesday, like just a text. Hey, it's a new year. Want to be real with you? Like, just go out and do this privately. No, let's do it at work. Let's do it on work hours. Yeah.
and we've been standing here for quite a while, but let's discuss this right now. Let's start talking. Was this the segment where you could see there's a few backstage here? We saw Shawn Michaels talking to Roxanne Perez.
Right.
I believe that was also something that was happening. Like, meanwhile, we're hearing Izzy and Rizzo and Sean Spears and Dion Lennox and couples talking about being official, when I'm like, yo, can we please mic up Shawn Michaels and Roxanne Perez? I think that might be a bit more interesting.
We need the Peter Jackson at the end of each NXT to just, isolate the sound. What's that conversation going on there?
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So we have a lot going on, but we're happy here because we support love. And Carmen and Ashanti, we wish you the best. And Valentine's is around the corner, so I imagine we see them going on some dates. We go to a video for Julia, the Beautiful Madness, winning the NXT Women's title last week in a match with Roxanne Perez. We see highlights of her coming to NXT, her winning the title, and some subtitles here of her saying that this is the most important thing to her. This means everything to her, and says that she cannot wait to defend the NXT Women's title to this roster here. So yeah, lots of big matchups I'm sure that we'll be getting to. I imagine we'll be seeing her defend this quite often, just like Roxanne, like TV matches and stuff. I'm sure maybe the one in Atlanta, we gear up for a big match.
Yeah, I feel with the closing angle, Roxanne's moving away from Julia. Mm-hmm. And so who do you think will be her first opponent?
If we do some defenses before Vengeance Day, like there's still hope to have Roxanne, but maybe not for Vengeance Day. But that could be completely, like, I could be completely off on that. But yeah, I don't know who would you put for Vengeance Day, if you will. Again, that's in a month, so she could be wrestling a lot before that. But
yeah,
Jada.
I could see Cora being a challenger.
Cora,
if you want just a stronger heel. I see. That makes sense with the Roxanne tie-in. Down the line, I see the matches with Stephanie, matches with Zarya. Stephanie's obviously tied up with the North American title.
I see that
right now.
Yeah, WrestleMania weekend, Stand and Deliver is definitely Julia versus Stephanie.
That's a good time to do a face versus face kind of match, and I think that would be good. But for now, I'd probably say Cora, I think, at Vengeance Day.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. We see Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa here back in NXT now as WWE Tag Champs, as they're welcome to the show backstage. And Ciampa corrects her and says, no, we're two-time NXT champions. And he says, we're here in NXT because we keep hearing about this tag team, Fraxiom. People say that they are the best team going, but everyone knows, says Johnny, that we are the best TIW, best tag team today in the world. I think I missed the T.
Something like that, yeah.
He then says, don't worry, we're always 10 steps ahead and we're always looking everywhere. And he goes, maybe one day Fraxiom will face DIY and the world will rejoice. We're not here to cause problems. No shenanigans. We're just going to get up and close and personal and watch the match, the tag title match later tonight. Loved the throwback to what that was the tweet about FTR and the Young Bucks. The world, one day we will face the Young Bucks and the world will rejoice, or the other way around. Yeah. So that has become a bit of a a thrown phrase that people throw around like, oh, the world will rejoice when they finally have this match. And I mean, not wrong. Right away, my eyes lit up like, hey, wait a second. I loved when these two were on NXT back in the day, and love that they're getting their flowers as tag champs on the main roster. And also, Fraxiom versus DIY sounds awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I hope this is Vengeance Day. We were talking on Sunday's show about Fraxiom should move up pretty soon, but I'm loving this tag run and getting as much out of it as we can. Whether I don't know if you do it title for title or do it just a non-title match or whatever, but DIY versus Fraxiom, hopefully now we've got the tease that will be a major draw for the next PLE, next NXT PLE. That sounds great. Like, that's a match I've been really wanting to see. And then eventually Fraxiom moving into that SmackDown tag roster will breathe some life onto that show for sure.
Yeah, it's like almost, do we see that match here or do we wait to see that match on the main roster at a PLE? It's almost like, do we go to it right now?
Yeah,
because you wouldn't want DIY to beat them, right? Like at
I feel
Vengeance
the tease? The tease. I mean, it can always be a sort of non-finish. You could always have the machine guns get involved or something like that, you know, or whether you just do it as a like non-title match, just a bragging rights kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know where you go with it. But
either way, I want the match.
I assume we're seeing it. Yeah,
I want the match. That sounds fucking great. I love the heel role DIY is in. Heel Johnny definitely working for me. He's funny, like the shenanigans, but he's a bit more
very
serious.
irritating, isn't he?
Yeah. Like, yeah. I remember the way in NXT, like he was very like annoying and irritating. But here it's him and Ciampa definitely balance each other. So we love these guys so much, and we've been watching them through NXT, and to see them kind of coming back is pretty cool. Johnny's come back a few times, so has Ciampa, but now as the tag team titles and all that stuff, I want this match, and it should definitely bang. We go to a tag team match, the number one contenders match for the women's tag team titles, wherever that may be on the main roster. They kind of said that, like they said, like, hey, isn't that what this is? This is a number one contenders match, isn't it?
The women.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they said it was for
number one contenders match for the women's tag team.
I saw you shaking your head, but maybe you were just at this match. I'm not sure. So the Unholy Union, the Witches, as we say, versus the Meta Girls, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson versus Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Alba's in there with Jakara. They're slapping each other's chests and chops here. But Jakara gets the best of her and then the best of Isla as well. There's a huge rolling elbow from Lash. I guess a wardrobe malfunction because my screen kept going to black quite a few times. That's usually the case, or Netflix is shit in the bed. Jakara climbs up on Lash, but Alba like kicks her so she falls off like she was climbing her shoulders for that stand-up move, but gets sent to the turnbuckle. There's a Meteora from Isla to the outside. There's Alba who hits a tope off the top to everyone. When we come back from a break, there's Lash hitting a choke slam for a near fall. There's Jakara who goes finally up on her shoulders. So standing right on top of Jakara, Jakara standing on Lash, and then jumps to a crossbody to both of them. But the pin is broken up. And then the Witches go for the Gory Bomb combo, but it's broken up with a pump kick and then the wheelbarrow cutter on Alba for the pin. So the Meta Girls are your number one contenders.
Yeah, I'm pleased they won. We've kind of had the soft launch of them on the main roster. The transfer window is open. If you want to start building dissension between the big three, Bianca, Naomi, and Jade, if we're get to that angle and what the other match is coming out of it, why not just strap these two up and have them make a big splash on the main roster? They've already had one attempt at it. I feel you should maybe just crown them at this point and get that story moving. Now we're in Rumble season to get them in the big singles feuds for Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. The match was, I liked parts of this match, and then some of it was quite sloppy. There was, some miscommunication. You felt at times they were in the wrong position. There was a point when Jakara went for a pin and Lash was able to be like, wait, no, I'm the legal one here. I think Lash and Jakara are improving in ring. We're seeing a lot more from Jakara than we used to. I like that they've got some tag moves that are working together now. And I like that this match actually got time. I didn't feel that I actually thought the whole show didn't have the same criticisms as last week. I thought we got decent match times and it was laid out a little better that way. But I can't deny there was some clunkiness and sloppiness in this match as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree because like I think you should just pull the trigger on and crown new champions. And you have two right here that you've tried to launch and then you kind of didn't. So like just do it and like have them be champions. You're not using the titles, obviously, the other way. So like you should go with these two. They have improved. I thought this was a kind of a clunky match. There was some cool stuff in it. I don't like the move where Jakara's standing on her shoulders and then jumps in the ring to them. It's kind of like you're not even as high as like the rope. Like Lash is pretty tall, but it doesn't look as impressive when she's doing it in the ring to when she does it to outside the ring.
I think
you know they only,
I think that was only to set up for the chop block though. In this,
no, they hit it. No, they hit it later, and it was in the ring.
It looks way cooler when she's flying to the outside.
It's like, wait, why are you doing it in the ring? You're not getting it. Anyways, that's nitpicking. But I didn't necessarily love this match, but I want them to go forward.
I did really like the finish though, which was like the kick out into the counter of the wheelbarrow into that cutter. I thought it was a pretty nice finish here.
That move is cool. Yeah, for sure. So like I think you should put the titles on them just because like get some buzz with them and on screen. I think Lash and Jakara could get over on the main roster. Like they're pretty like, you know, their promos and stuff. They got some character. So I think it would work.
Just, you know, you have the match, you have Jade return, take out Naomi because she knows she's one that attacked her. It costs them the match. They lose the titles. You strap up. Metaphor.
There you go. Metaphor life. We go backstage. Ava is with Lexis King, and she's like, "Look, your name is on the cup now." Again, it took a whole week, but look, you finally got your name on the cup. And Lexis is like, "Yes, I'm so proud that I finally did it. All the hard work." When Charlie interrupts him, and Ren is with him, and she's like watching Charlie, and Charlie's like, "Oh, congratulations, Lexis." And Ren is like, "Charlie, what are you even saying? Just ask for the rematch. That's what we need. He stole it. He didn't win it." And he's like, no, stop, please. And Lexis is like, what are you talking about? And then Ren is like, "Do you hear it? Do you hear that? Rematch. And Ava says, "Okay, fine. Rematch." So these two will have a rematch. I'm not sure if they said this was next week, but is it going to be Heritage Cup rules again?
I think the next time should be actual Heritage Cup rules, not the Sun Death thing. You know, we used to talk about Candice LeRae's lipstick and how we knew she was turning heel because she changed the shade of her lipstick.
Yes.
Well, Lexis King's beard seemed a lot darker and more defined this week. So I feel that might be a nod that he's leaning into that direction. And it's, you know, what's the word? Plausible deniability. How he hit that low blow last week on Charlie. I feel when we get the rematch, that's maybe when we get the proper turn from Lexis.
Yeah, I noticed the fade, the beard was looking a little crazy again. So I figured he's gonna hit him in the balls on purpose next week.
Yeah.
And then his barber comes out. Give Charlie a fade too. That should be his thing. Starts giving other people. Get Brutus the barber there. I don't know. Anyways, we'll see what happens. But I see Lexis retaining by evil means. While this is happening, there starts to be banging on the door, and Ava's like, "What the hell?" Which I lost it at that. Anyways, the camera follows. And it's just two lads fighting in the dark. The parking lot still not a safe place here, or just Florida in general, as we see Tony D'Angelo and Ridge Holland fighting as people are trying to separate them. And if you noticed in the background, it was pretty dark, but Sean Spears, Briggs, and I think Nico, who's that? Not Rico's, but Nico, I think, all watching and laughing in the background. So maybe they helped instigate this. I'm not sure, but they're the audience. Tony and Ridge fighting, which has been announced. Tony versus Ridge next week for the North American Championship. But I just laughed. So you just hear banging and then what the hell?
Could you see Ridge winning this at all?
Yeah. I think so. I don't want him to. I'm over him. But
Tony kind of set up a bit of an angle with Oba already. Like that could be a title defense down the line. You know,
Yeah.
Tony is the one who beat Oba for the North American title. Feels a bit of a retread, but we've said multiple times, who are the baby faces in this men's division who are at that kind of NXT championship level? So I could see Tony dropping this title and challenging again for the world title.
I kind of agree, but like I don't want that to happen because Ridge just doesn't work for me. Like it's like I don't know, but they're seeming to push him, and they didn't give him the world title, so they needed to give him something. So
yeah,
I kind of do see that happening, but I feel like Tony should keep it. Really, it's more interesting that way, but we'll see. We come back from commercial and we see the TNA Knockouts champion, or I think as Vic called it, the TNA Knockouts Women's Champion.
Yes.
Masha Slamovich is here in the crowd at NXT. That's right. Masha is here on NXT. They mentioned that she will be defending her title this weekend at TNA Genesis.
Nice.
Pretty cool seeing her here. Like we've seen her, a bunch of her on the independents and TNA, and like she's a solid wrestler, and I think she's someone who you could easily see in WWE NXT in the near future.
Do you know who she's facing and what kind of match it is?
Okay, give me a second. Let's think. TNA. Dana Brooke.
It is not. It's Masha
close?
Slamovich versus Rosemary. Of course, it's always Rosemary.
Why?
In a Clockwork Orange House of Fun match.
Of course.
What's your favorite Clockwork Orange House of Fun match?
I think the one with Raven. Did he do one? Is that a thing they've done? I feel like I might be right. I feel like
have they?
Look, my brain can only hold so much knowledge, but stupid wrestling shit is some of that.
Yeah, you're right. No, the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, known as Raven's House of Fun, or simply House of Fun, was created by professional wrestler Raven, legitimately as Raven pitched the idea himself to TNA creative team. It is a singles match with poles attached to the ring post, measured about 5 to 6 feet above the turnbuckles, chains wrapped around them from and hanging onto the poles to various points of the ring itself, with many weapons attached to the steel chain. Sounds great.
Wow.
I think there's scaffold involved, and there's a perch, and I don't know. This sounds.
You get Malcolm McDowell ringside.
Sure, yeah.
TNA gonna TNA,
glasses
bro.
of milk, right? The milk.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, again, this seems a tease. I'm sure we'll have Masha. Maybe this is, before Roxanne is on her way out. Maybe she just has a bunch of like little mini dream matches before she leaves. Maybe Masha's one down the line, or maybe Masha's you can do Masha versus Julia potentially at some point.
Yeah, I would love to see Masha versus Julia, champ v champ. Masha's pretty good. Every time we've seen her, especially like the blood sport stuff, I think WrestleMania weekend, and there's a few times that like she's pretty awesome. So even though the Clockwork Orange stuff might not be my cup of tea, I know that she's pretty talented, and there's definitely a few different matchups you could do with her. Wow. So this kind of shows that like the TNA stuff is still ongoing a little bit here. Like, I imagine Jordynne Grace comes into NXT very, very soon. Whenever her contract is ending, I imagine she could be in the Rumble, like, right? Like Masha in the Rumble or Jordynne in the Rumble.
Yeah, I wonder, do we need Jordynne Grace in NXT? I feel the main roster could kind of do with her. She's a big enough name at this point. She had shine in the Rumble last year. I think put her in the Rumble again this year. NXT's already stacked. Like the women's division isn't a problem there. Yeah, I'd say it's definitely your top male baby faces that need work on that show.
Absolutely.
Whereas I think the main roster could absolutely do with Jordynne Grace. So I just put her right up on there.
Yeah. That's not a bad call, because I feel like they are missing something with their women's division on the main roster right now. Even though like they've added the secondary titles and stuff, I think the people to go up against, like imagine Jordynne Grace versus Rhea Ripley, that's a big meaty match right there.
Do we know when her contract's up? I feel it's soon, isn't it?
I feel like it's soon, if I remember correctly. So that's definitely, we'll definitely be seeing her one way or another. And
wow, it expires like next week.
Yeah, okay, so there you go.
So January 19th. So I imagine she's probably losing to Tessa at Genesis and then showing up at the Rumble. And Good fella in the chat says put her on SmackDown, which as you said about Rhea as well. Rhea versus Jordan Grace, Mania. Fuck, why not?
Yeah. So first she's got a job to Tessa, which I know she's been on social media not too thrilled about, I guess.
Yeah. But it's
TNA gonna TNA.
If you end up winning the Rumble and going to Mania, who cares?
Yeah. Also, Chelsea Green is U.S. champion. Shout out Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
I love Chelsea.
And shout out Lyra.
Yeah, shout out Lyra
Vaquer.
winning the IC title. Bird Lady did it. I realized she finally changed. We call it the Bird Bomb, but the Nightwing.
Yeah.
Great name for them.
Yeah. You know what the giveaway was? They changed Dakota Kai's music. And she had one of the good themes. She had a pretty good theme. And I
can't remember.
They changed her theme coming out. And I was like, oh boy. Okay.
Oh.
Dakota ain't winning this.
Damn. I didn't notice that. We go to our next match, though, as Masha watches on ringside. She is watching Kalani Jordan taking on Cora Jade. As Booker T is on one, says, Cora Jade is one bad little sister. Kalani hits the springboard arm drag here in control, like making things pretty fast. Eventually, though, Cora stops her, throws her off the top rope, and then does the like mushroom stomp near the ropes in the ring. Kalani, though, comes back with the like split-legged execution that Edge sort of kind of used to do for a near fall. I thought that looked cool. They start going at it, like punching and scrapping all over each other, but eventually it's Cora who gets a rake right to the eyes, but the referee doesn't really see it. And then the double arm DDT, and Cora Jade sneaks away with a win over Kalani Jordan because, like Booker said, she's a bad little sister.
Yeah, I thought this was fine. I just found it a little dull, the match, to be honest. Technically, like nothing wrong with it, but I didn't find this the most entertaining match. Kalani got a bit more of her aggressive side out, and Cora picking up the win kind of goes back to what I said. I feel they're probably building her up for a championship match down the line.
Yeah, I think you're right. Cora versus Julia is probably the direction. I don't see her winning the title, but that's easily where you would go. Yeah, Cora, I think, has improved still, but I didn't necessarily think too much of this match. But I think there's more to be seen with her. Hopefully, bigger stage, Vengeance Day, and all that. We shall see. What we can't see is Eddie Thorpe, because he sent in a video after he attacked Oba, but this is in the dark, and he filmed this pretty much in the dark. Not his screen wasn't on full brightness. He didn't have a flash on, nothing. Just him on his phone. But I guess it adds to the realism here because he is laughing. We are laughing. We're having a good time. He's just laughing outside. He says, Eddie Thorpe says, "It feels good. I just got some stuff to say." He says, "It's a full moon. You know what that'll do for a wolf. You know, Davey, what that'll do for a wolf." He says, "There's unity out here." And he says that Oba took the bait again. I set up the bait and he fell for it again. So shout out Ava. You know, last week you called me a liar. Well, I'm over that now because soon enough, all will be well. And Oba, you call yourself the ruler. Next week, you're overthrown. And then says, "It's a beautiful day."
Why was he so out of breath?
Because he was running away from Oba.
Okay.
This was earlier today.
It's a very breathy promo.
Very breathy, very dark outside, woods, full moon.
Yeah, I feel this is definitely the most interesting Eddie's been. And you're in that kind of death spot of being the first challenger of a new champion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not really sold on Eddie Thorpe. This is better than he was doing as a babyface, but I don't really buy him in this top mix.
Yeah, it's definitely like a throw. I don't like how it was shoehorned in, and that's how Trick lost, because it was ultimately still Trick that was pinned. So, like, why did we even need Eddie in the match in the first place? I'm fine with him being like a throwaway feud that he's clearly not going to win, whatever. But it just seems messy and sloppy and weird booking for this whole storyline. Just how it just shows you how like bad the main title scene kind of is if he's one of the main competitors. That being said, you're right. Like, this is the most interesting he's ever been. He's actually pretty like different. He's fooled us, the audience, Ava and the champ once, and then now he's did it again to like get his thing. It's classic wrestling. So I didn't think anything that best stuff he's done. Just like still just Eddie Thorpe. So
yeah,
I did like him referencing, like he's throwing in other like the moon and all this. Like, all right, buddy, you're just get your match. I don't see him winning. We see a video for the fires in California. Oh man, definitely feel for anyone out there in California and like all the firefighters and help and support and everyone who's like kind of stepping up and going down there and helping in any way. That's like all the power to anyone and hopefully anyone out there listening. I hope you're okay and you and yours, because watching on the news, man, it's very awful, very scary. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrifying and still ongoing, right?
Yeah, please. California strong for real. But back to the show, we see Fraxiom backstage getting ready for their matchup here when they are interrupted by Briggs and Inamura, and they're basically like, hey, you've kind of avoided us and we want this match. So what we're saying is we got next. Do you understand? And OTM walk in and kind of interrupt and go like, whoa, you're asking the wrong people, because we're going to win the titles right now. And then we'll be the champions. And maybe when we're champions, we'll drag your ass through the mud. And this is when Inamura goes, mud? Oh, as he laughs, you guys mud wrestle? Ooh, actually, no, thank you. And OTM didn't like this, as I think Nima says, oh, you're a comedian now. And then they get into a brawl when Briggs and Inamura start fighting OTM. And this is like minutes before their matchup later today. But I thought that was pretty funny from Inamura.
I think Inamura said not comedian, but chaos as he starts to fight
Punches him in the face.
Yeah, I want to see more of Inamura. We've only seen him, like, I think in a battle royal and then
terrible debut.
One match, maybe. I don't love the team of him and Briggs. I get it to kind of give him a bit of a mouthpiece, but Briggs was in a tag team and it was pretty popular, and they broke up to go in their singles directions. And really, apart from like a pretty cool story to start with Jensen, it's kind of gone nowhere, and he's getting less and less interesting with this Sean Spears thing. And Briggs, I feel, we're saying like we're lacking baby faces in this main event scene. And I feel Briggs is someone at this point, he's been in NXT, 4 years, 5 years, maybe? It feels like it's been a while. Why not go with him as a singles guy? Give him a go. Like, it doesn't have to be a big PLE, but at least something, and maybe it will catch fire, because he's great in ring, and he's definitely won over fans over the last few years with his we used to make fun of Brooks and Jensen, but they really came around. And I just feel at this point, if you're going to have him in a tag team, just have him with Jensen and have matches with Fraxiom and be a main event tag team. If you're splitting them up, go with them as singles. But it just feels a bit of a step back for Josh Briggs, I feel.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because the team broke up. Brooks, Jensen, Josh Briggs, Fallon Henley, and then they all joined stables.
It was Briggs wanted a solo run. Okay, Fallon is in a stable, but she's a champion.
Yeah,
she's a singles champion. But yeah, they're all doing. It was meant to be those two leaving Jensen, right? And that's why Jensen's found this group. But now Briggs just hanging out with his mate from Noah.
Yeah, it's weird because the story was I need to be my own man because JBL told me so, and so instead I got a partner in Japan, and now I'm in a tag team. However, Briggs and Inamura versus Fraxiom, yes, please. Like that's probably the Vengeance Day match. That's gonna fuck. That's gonna be a banger.
I feel especially now with Oba as champion, like that stand and deliver 3-way with Dijak involved was great. I think Briggs and Oba could be awesome down the line.
You're absolutely right. We need a Briggs one-on-one with Oba. Like that would be pretty good. I don't know. Like I like Briggs, and I feel like maybe they've been a little hot and cold. I'm not sure, but he's on TV still, so yeah, we'll see. And I do want to see that match. What sucks is they did disrespect OTM, but like OTM are about to wrestle and then get in a brawl beforehand. So maybe this is why, spoilers, they don't win. But yes, we see a commercial break. When we come back, Trick Williams on Twitter/X, he had a tweet that said, "Need to figure out what my next move is gonna be." So what is going to happen with Trick Williams? Where do you see Tricky landing? Do we go back to Oba one-on-one to see who the real ruler is. I think he kind of has deserved a one-on-one match.
We need the one-on-one match that we haven't got. I see that being Vengeance Day. Oba puts Eddie to bed next week, and then we can build that.
Trick comes out, yeah.
I'm not against Trick pairing up with Mello again once he moves up.
Me neither. I would like to see that.
I think there is still stuff for Trick, mainly the wrestling to focus on in NXT, and maybe some more time there will help. But he's already had his championship run at this point. He has been in NXT a while. And I feel he'd help Mello's act a lot. And I think the two of them try to recreate some of that magic they had when they were together in NXT. Could be beneficial for both them on SmackDown.
I agree. Like, that's what I know. We had the feud and everything, but like, I think they would work well together. Carmelo's had some moments and he's on TV and everything, but I feel like he hasn't necessarily found a groove just yet. And like, hey, they worked well together. You're not sure what to do with either of them. Main roster people, fans haven't seen them. There would be new, fresh, like pairing them together. They were pretty funny, and there's a tag team right there. So like, I don't think it's the
like Mello's starting something off with Jimmy right now. So if you want to move him up soon, it's like Trick helps him beat Jimmy or whatever.
Yeah,
and then down the line, you can always do Usos versus those guys.
I think we do need Trick versus Oba one last time. That's your send off for Trick, and then he joins Carmelo. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see what's his next move. We go to our next match, though. The tag team titles on the line. Fraxiom, the champions, against OTM. And we get the in-ring announcer here doing the like title match introductions. And he says, Fraxiom. And this sets off Booker T. He goes, why did they call him Fraxiom? Why did he call him Fraxiom? And Vic's like, man, I don't know. Just ask him after the show. And Booker's like, just starts like mumbling. I'm like, what is going on, dude? What? That's okay. Maybe it's not their actual names, but it's like that people. That's their tag
people have been
name.
referring to them as Fraxiom for a long time at this point.
I was like, whoa, chill, Booker. So DIY is also watching this match on the perch with their World Tag Team titles. We start off with Bronco Nima beating down on Frazer, who is wearing a face mask in this match. I wonder if this is still from the Oba onslaught from weeks and weeks ago. The crowd here in Florida are surprisingly more behind OTM, actually. Maybe because, like, you know, local people watching week by week, they've been working and shooting in the gym here. But OTM chants raining out as Bronco does this stomp onto Frazer here. However, Fraxiom gain control. They're doing all these combo moves, looking good. But Price hits AXIOM with this huge lariat inside out as they go to commercial break. When we come back, OTM is now still in control, but Frazer is back. He hits a standing star. There's then a like huge slam from Price onto Frazer. Like he just picks him up and slams him down here, like almost like a Uranagi. There's then another slam, but it's broken up by AXIOM. And then there's an armbar on Price, and then double submissions, and then they get slammed onto each other. And then I think it's Bronco who slams AXIOM onto Frazer onto Price. Yeah, like I know Price was his partner, but he got the worst of this because he was underneath two different guys. But still, this spot looked pretty impressive. That's a tough dude. The match continues though, and then there's like a Stormbreaker type move onto Nathan Frazer. He does like a 360 rotation as he sells this, and a great near fall here as it's a 1-2, but AXIOM breaks it up yet again, and then the table is cleared. It's chaos and Vic's water goes flying. He says, I didn't want that water anyway.
Candy.
It's all his stuff, his monitors. But however, it's AXIOM who nails Price there, or I think Bronco. And then they switch who they were attacking and they tag in. And then it's Frazer who climbs up top and hits his best Seth Rollins splash from the corner turnbuckle to the outside onto the commentary desk as it explodes here. And then we see AXIOM hit the Spanish fly, followed up by the golden ratio. And Fraxiom, and yes, I'm going to call them Fraxiom, are still your tag team champions in an awesome match that definitely stole the show.
Again. I love this. Like, easily OTM's best match.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, at this point, Frazer and AXIOM can have great matches with anyone, but you've got to give OTM the credit here as well. They kept up, and I think what was impressive was the speed. They were able to keep up with the speed of Fraxiom. And these are two big guys. I thought both showed up. Both had some quite impressive moves. I liked Bronco's stomp off the top rope, like the chest stomp. I thought that looked good. I think it was Price who hit that like backbreaker on Fraxiom onto. He looked good here. Really exciting. I like that the finish was slightly different from what we've seen from the other matches. You know, the frog splash through the table, and then it wasn't the Spanish fly into the Phoenix splash, but the golden ratio putting this away. And I didn't feel robbed for time on this one either. Right? They started this, I think, 25 minutes to 10. Obviously, we had a Roxanne promo at the end, but I felt this got a decent amount of time as well. And I guess we're getting not only the DIY Fraxiom match at some point, but Briggs and Inamura seem to be the next challengers for Fraxiom. And I mean, we were just singing Briggs's praises. We really haven't seen enough of Inamura yet. And going in there with Fraxiom, that's where we're really going to be able to see what this guy is like as well. So this tag run, they've had this title for a long time now. I know they dropped it and picked it back up again, but I am not bored of it yet. And it's making the other tag teams. Like, they should work every single tag team in NXT before they drop this thing, because they're elevating everyone around them.
Yeah, I mean, this shows like OTM definitely stepped up here. They had to go against the measuring stick of like the best tag team this year. And every team that stepped up against these guys has put on like a clinic, put on an awesome match. And OTM was no different. So yeah, best match they've been in since being here in NXT. And they've been growing on me. They've been improving. And this was like a sure proof of that. So I'm kind of happy for them. Like Fraxiom here, going into 2025 is early contender for tag team of 2025. I hope we don't break them up. I know we're talking about like, hey, we need fresh faces for like Oba and stuff. And Frazer and AXIOM had their moments with Oba and stuff, but like as a tag team, they're really gelling. And then you got DIY watching from the perch, and like you could go to that match and pull the trigger on that. That would just be like a dream match for us fans. So like, yeah, I'm loving their run. Every week they wrestle, they steal the show. I gotta shout out OTM, definitely stepped it up. Maybe they will be tag champs one day, but this was definitely an improvement. And I like the switch up. Like, these are bigger guys, they're more nasty. We got to hit them through the table and do different stuff. So the different dream matches we could get with Fraxiom, I'm definitely looking forward to. But yet again, I would definitely recommend this if you didn't check it out. Like, it was a lot of fun. Absolutely. Yeah. So they retain, which means we will get Briggs and Inamura versus Fraxiom. Maybe not next week, but maybe the week after, maybe Vengeance Day. We're not sure. But next week it is Eddie Thorpe versus Oba Femi and Tony D'Angelo versus Ridge Holland. So 2 title matches. Yeah. Right there. Big. There could be 2 title changes just like last week. Maybe. Possibly. So you said that the match didn't get cut for time. I don't know if that could be said for the segment we're about to talk about, which we are about to go to commercial. We see Roxanne making her way to the ring, but then we see someone has arrived to NXT. We see the boots, but whose boots are they? And are they made for walking? As we'll find out. Roxanne Perez is in the ring when we come back. She has a microphone. She's very somber, Roxanne, not the mean Roxanne that we've been seeing over the past while. She says that she's been here making history, countless defenses, and I did it because I've wanted to make women's wrestling special, to make this women's division that could main event. And I think that we did that. And the crowd give her a nice applause here. She says, we showed you the best women's wrestling in all of wrestling. And it's clearly what you wanted. You wanted Julia to take the title from me, and you wanted. But what's even sadder is the state of this division. You think Julia and her attitude starts to change again. You think Julia will take it to where I did? No. NXT doesn't deserve me. And you don't deserve me. You needed the 4 horsewomen, but this generation only needed one. When she's interrupted. Did someone say horsewomen? Bailey comes out here to a huge pop, especially this one lady who started screaming at the top of her lungs here. Oh my God, I forgot whose music it was for a second. And then I'm like, oh yeah. The role model comes out back to NXT legends in the house tonight. She makes her way to the ring. and they shout welcome back. She says, Roxanne, I knew you were going to be upset when you lost that title. I've been following your career. I've been in your corner. And Roxanne interrupts her. Sorry, Bayley, but I didn't ask for your advice. Ooh, she says, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Bayley says, well, you have been asking for my advice. You've been asking everyone's advice since you were even shorter than you are now. Think back to Texas. I believed in you. And sister, the division's going to be fine. We got Lonnie, Jade, Cora. And Roxanne says, you're just like Natalya, just like CM Punk. You're like everyone I used to look up to. Why are you even here? You set records and I broke them. In fact, you used to be my role model, but I could be yours now. And this is when the Netflix logo pops up and it says, show is ending. And I'm like, oh, shit, it's 10 o'clock. As the credits roll, shout out Lee Fitting, I think. As Bayley's like, clearly someone said, your time's up. And Bayley goes, oh, I'm going to beat Tiffany Stratton on Friday, and I'm not going to be your friend anymore. And then Roxanne slaps her, and then she slaps her, and then the feed goes to black.
Yeah, this is happening a lot, and maybe just cut one segment, like even like a little backstage 60-second thing that just give yourself a bit of breathing room for the end of these shows. That aside, love the direction. Didn't really see this happening. I think it was great last year when Becky came back to NXT. Was that last year or the year before? Or 2023?
Yeah.
It's good. Like, Bayley is likely to lose against Tiffany Stratton on Friday. And we talked about this. She's kind of not done much since becoming champion at WrestleMania. And this is a nice little rehab, and Roxanne's great. I think that match sounds awesome. I like a little, Bayley's a top star. She doesn't really have much of a program going on apart from this Tiffany thing, which I don't think is going to last too long. So why not have a little bit of time in NXT, build to Vengeance Day, and then come back for a Mania program with someone. I really like the direction, and I'm excited to see Roxanne v. Bayley. I think that sounds great.
Yeah, I think this is something for Bayley to do, something for Roxanne to do. It's a bit of a like dream match for some, like two different generations of NXT and superstars. And like, I think we could see Roxanne on the main roster. We'll see her in the Royal Rumble. Absolutely. But like, at what time do you bring her into the main roster? Is it bring her after WrestleMania when like things are cooling off and you want new characters and new directions? Because right now things are kind of probably already in place. So it'd be maybe a little bit messy. So in this way, you could do Bayley versus Roxanne at Vengeance Day, right? Like that's a big PLE match right there. It was a shame it got cut. It did feel like, I'm not saying embarrassing, but it was pretty much like, hey, you're done. You got to go. And she's like, and I'm going to beat Tiffany. And I was like, whoa, what the where's this coming from? And then smack, and then they're brawling, and then it cuts. I was like, oh, shit. So, yeah, I know they're learning with the CW and the cuts and everything, but like...
It's been a while, though. They didn't start on CW last week, did they? It's been a few months
this
happens every week.
This was funny. Like, this was... Like, I'm not saying it was bad, but it wasn't good. Just... her rushing into like, oh, wait, I got to say this. I got to say this. It's like, no. You didn't need to say any of that. You just needed to slap her. But I'll let it go because it's like, all right, we're going to the good match. But I feel for them. Like, there's so much shit. Did we really need to see Shawn Spears not bug Izzy Dame and her get upset about it? Did we really need Lexis King?
There's some stuff you can say for the social media. And NXT have been good at that. Posting things on .com, posting things on Twitter.
Yeah,
we didn't necessarily need that tonight, but big time. Trey Baxter in the chat saying maybe HBK still thinks there's an overrun. Maybe.
I thought for a second that Netflix was going to continue, and then it's like, no, it's gone. I was like, oh, okay. It reminded me of the Sting. I'm getting cues. Cut.
End of career.
Never to be seen again.
Overall, I enjoyed this week's show. I much preferred it to last week's. I thought that tag match was awesome. I loved the direction of Bayley and Roxanne. I thought Oba Femi sounded good. And I think we're starting to see a few different directions moving forward. But yeah, that tag match, I definitely advise going out to see. It's about 12 minutes. Won't take up too much time, but is a really solid tag match to watch.
Yeah, I swear I like that tag match more than any match last week on the show. Fraxiom, just don't miss. Absolutely, always must watch. They're so good. They've definitely they're working so good, and I can't wait to see the DIY match. I didn't mind this episode too. It had some stuff in it that I didn't necessarily like, but moving forward, like if we're going towards Ethan Page versus Javon, we left some breadcrumbs of Tony D going back to Oba. Kind of looking ahead, I said that I would like Stephanie versus Julia. I think Javon Evans versus Oba Femi is your stand and deliver main event, and I'm calling that now. Like that should be the direction.
I feel Javon should be the one to beat Oba down the line, whether it's stand and deliver or it could be later than that because Mania isn't that far away. But we'll see.
But yeah, I liked Oba. He comes across as a good champion. So like off the gate, just. I didn't mind this episode. I preferred this to last week's as well, just because there was actually some good wrestling and the stuff with Bailey and Roxanne. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the build for not only Vengeance Day, but like in 2 weeks they're doing Atlanta and they're like doing different things. I think that's pretty good. So yeah, some stuff definitely looking forward to in the near future of NXT, and that's what we thought of NXT. But we also have some feedback. Search Poisonrana on Facebook, like the page, but join the group is where we post feedback threads, and then we will read them here on the show because I'm going to go to first our upNXT here, our BDE champion, Fire Frank, who says, Fraxiom continues to be the best in the business, dragging everyone that moves them at least to a solid match. Give me the DIY match at a PLE someday soon, please. Shotzi wins a big one, I guess, because she was raised by her dad. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Cool.
Masha, Masha, what are you up to? Tony D to drop the NA title and chase Oba for the NXT title? ? Roxanne really should have told Bailey, like her mentor says, mind your business.
Yes, and we go to Magan, who says, new year, new hierarchies, and same old reliable NXT. Fraxiom delivered another banger with OTM, with DIY looking on. Oba wants to behead Thorpe. Kalani's getting an edge. Stephanie Vaquer is on a warpath after Fatal Influence fucks around, and they're going to find out. Unholy Union metaphor was pretty good. Now, the closing segment is where I want to focus the next paragraph. I thought Roxanne Perez was going to get her flowers on her way out the door, but she fell back on her bullshit until Bailey, living up to her role model moniker, attempts to be the voice of reason. Roxy still has a lot of growing up to do. We're seeing a coming-of-age story being told right before our eyes. Solid outing. Note. Masha.
Yes. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Frank. People are excited about Masha being here. Maybe we'll see her wrestle in NXT.
And I just want to go to one comment in the chat room as well from Big Time Trey Baxter, who says, do you guys think the North dethrone Fraxiom?
Yes.
Josh Alexander deal is up in February 29-25. I think he means 2025. But that should be the stand and deliver match, in my opinion.
Yes, 100%.
The North versus Fraxiom, and the North can win it, and Fraxiom can debut on SmackDown after Mania.
Absolutely. That is exactly it. Yeah, I saw Alexander posting this weekend. He was supposed to have his last indie match, but because of weather, he didn't actually have the match. So I wonder if he'll still squeeze that in because he had been posting. We saw him in his last Canadian date. I'm pretty sure. So shout out Northern Crown, who have announced a third show. Is it a fourth show now? I forget.
It's their fifth show.
Fifth show. Wow.
Yeah,
okay,
show.
sweet.
February 23rd, I think, off the top of my head.
It's a lot of great wrestling. We got Northern Crown in February. We got Demand Lucha in February. Lots of good stuff. But yeah, hopefully we get Alexander and Ethan Page together. We the North. And then maybe we get a PLE in Toronto as well, Elimination Chamber. They haven't announced anything, but they just announced the Atlanta stuff. So it's maybe they're just keeping things to the chest. I'm not sure. But yeah. And anyone who's thinking of coming up to Toronto in Elimination Chamber, let us know. We're looking to have some things planned for that. And I know it's going to attract a lot of people for the Skydome and everything. So yeah, stay tuned, folks.
Yes.
Keep it locked. But thank you, everyone out there in the chat here today, in the chat room, like big time Trey Baxter, Megan. I see all the people there dropping frogs. Appreciate you. We do this every Tuesday, as we will be back next Tuesday, 10:05 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be chatting all about some NXT, as we always do. Give us a follow on all the socials, because there's our Instagram at PoisonRanaPod, Twitter, Blue Sky, all the fun stuff. And our patreon.com/Poisonrana, $5 to get all the other shows that we do, including The Champ is Here, episode 5 of John Cena's 5th title reign, and so much more, including Was Next and everything. And it's only $5, so go try us out, and it connects to your RSS feed and Spotify and all that fun stuff. So appreciate everyone out there listening. As always, have I missed anything?
I think that's it.
Well, thank you. That is it. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And I'm going to beat Tiffany Stratton on Friday night.
Ahoy!